So if you want some jerk chicken with a bit of a twist, keep on watching. Okay, we're gonna start off to make the marinade, which I've got a whole bunch of chilies here. Now in Austria, I couldn't find Scotch bonnets, so I got a little chili pack from the supermarket, and I'm gonna use all of them. So in they go. Then we got the white part of a spring onion, got some onion, some garlic, got a little spice blend here. All of the ingredients that I'm putting in here, they'll be in the description down below. I'm also gonna add some soy sauce, gonna add a couple of tablespoons of oil, some barrique, apple cider vinegar, and some liquid smoke. Because I don't have a charcoal grill, so we pop the top on and blend it. Okay, so I'm just going to be using chicken legs and thighs today for this recipe. So I'm not going to do too much to them. Just if there's any, chunks of fat hanging off, we'll remove that. And then I'm just going to, simple enough, lift the skin up, give them a good coating of salt because I can judge the salt better when I put it directly on the meat than if I put it into the rub. Then I know I'm not going to over salt or under salt. So I'm just going to go through and get all the salt attached to it, then we'll come back. Now I'm going to go ahead and marinate them. So I'm just going to make sure that they all get a bit of loving on this marinade. So I'll put some under the skin, put some over the top, then we'll move on. I'm just doing this so every piece of chicken gets a good amount of the marinade, and then I'll put them in bags after I finish doing this. Okay, so I've got these bagged up, and I'm going to stick them in the fridge to marinate overnight. Now we're going to make the dough for the Johnny cakes. So I've got some all-purpose flour in a bowl, got some sugar, baking powder, and salt. We're just going to mix that through with a fork. Now we're going to add milk, about half of it to start off with. And we're going to start mixing it with a fork. And we're going to add the rest of the milk, and we're going to keep mixing the milk in until we can't mix no more with the fork. Then we're just going to start to bring the rest of it together with our hands and knead it directly in the bowl. And when we've brought it all together, we're going to wrap it up in some cling film, and we're going to set it back in the bowl and let it rest at room temperature for at least an hour. I'm going to make some rice and peas, which, funny enough, it's not actually peas that go in here, it's red beans. Now I'm not going to cook this on a stove, I'm going to use my rice cooker because I think it'll do a good job. So, I'm going to chuck a can of red beans in there, a couple of garlic cloves, a little bit of dried thyme because I have no fresh, and I couldn't find any coconut milk, but I found some sweetened condensed coconut milk. So, usually you put a little bit of sugar in this, which I'm going to omit, because I'm using this sweetened condensed coconut milk. I'm going to tip a bit of that in there, and then I'm going to fill the water up to the mark, which I meant to with my rice cooker, which is right there. Also add a little bit of salt, give everything a good mix through. Now I'll just slap it in my rice cooker. Till it tells me it's done. So I'm just going to tear off little sections of it, then roll it into little balls like this, and then we're going to dent the inside of them. Now what's that going to do is it's going to let it rise in the middle and give it a lot of air before the outside rises, so it gives it that nice little dome puff shape that everyone looks at. So I'm just going to go ahead and dent the insides, and then we'll go along and do the rest. The chicken's been marinated in the fridge overnight. Take off any excess rub from around, which there's not too much, so we'll plop it down, and then once I get them all out the bag, we'll head to the grill. The light's a little bad, but you get the picture. We're just going to load the grill up. Anytime the barbecue's out, you got to have a beer in your hand. Okay, the Johnny cakes, I've already got my oil up to temperature. You just want to pop them in, and you're going to cook them for about 1 to 2 minutes, probably more 2.5 minutes each side. Also, if you notice in the back there, the chicken, not everyone in this house appreciates its spice. When they're nicely golden brown like this, you want to remove them to a paper towel lined plate. So my rice cycle's finished cooking. We're going to remove the garlic cloves, and then we're going to put some butter in there, and then we're going to stick this back in the rice cooker on the keep warm setting for another 10 minutes or so to let it finish steaming and for the butter to melt. When your chicken's up to temp, and it looks nice and gnarly like this, you're going to take it off and let it rest. So we've got some rice and some fried dumplings. Let's go in with the star of the show, shall we? I couldn't find the Scotch bonnets, but the chili mix I put in there, it's pretty damn good. Not too spicy. Sichuan peppers coming through with a bit of numbingness. Johnny cakes and rice, they're there just to cool things down a little bit. And it's like the cherry on top of the cake.